President of the Board of Directors, and I am calling the meeting to order at 3:09 p.m. on August 31st of 2020. Welcome. So what?
I'll bring up the agenda.
Thank you. All right, it's found in your packet that was provided for us via the link online. We all received the minutes of the April 20th, 2020 Executive Committee meeting. I am looking for a motion for approval of those minutes.
So moved.
Thank you. Director Ritzema?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Director Dennison. Is there any discussion regarding the minutes? Thank you. Seeing that there is none, I would like to have a vote. I apologize. I'm reading and talking at the same time. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Step into the minutes. Thank you. Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
And moving back to the agenda, we'll see that there are no reports and communications today, and we would go directly to D, which is regular agenda item 1, approval of the September 14th board meeting agenda, which I can click down to now. And per the bylaws, which are quoted here in the background, and as we've done in all our previous meetings for preparation for board meetings, the executive committee shall make the agenda. So we've drafted the current version that you'll see. We can discuss and have any comments or questions or changes needed. And then we would be looking for a motion to approve this for the September 14th meeting.
Thank you.
I will scroll down. You'll notice on the top here, they look the same, but just for differentiation there. So what we would have is approval of minutes of our previous board meeting, April 27th, and then reports and communications. This period of the year is really about budget preparation and project assessment. The April meeting, as you know, is really focused on governance, electing officers, appointing boards and committees. So this time of year, just as a budget recap, we'll be bringing a draft budget allocation to the board. No action will be requested. We'll just be presenting it, and it'll be open for discussion, comments, and feedback to staff. At that point, we would then take it to the City Commission, again for presentation and review, conversation, discussion, feedback, but no action would be requested there as well. And then, including any changes that had been made over those previous 2 meetings, we would bring the final recommended draft back to the board at the October 12th meeting, at which time we'd request that the board approved it and recommended it to the City Commission for inclusion in the city's 2021 budget. And at that point, then it would be presented as a final recommendation from the board at meetings as appropriate in November and December, and then in January brought up with the overall city budget. So that's just a reminder of how this is structured and kind of the cadence of meetings. So what you'd see here under reports and communications are 3 areas. One is a staff report, which is going to be a look back at 2020 programs, or even the trends of programs now over previous years, since we are in our sort of third and a half programming year. And we think this year a special emphasis on COVID-19 response is really called for. So we can look at the Kalamazoo Small Business Loan Fund, investments that were also made in the Disaster Relief Fund and in Digital Access for All. And as well, as was mentioned at the Finance Committee, that Director Hoffman had interest in speaking a little bit more about the kind of the housing landscape. So we'll have a little bit of extra time there for talking about housing. And I believe as well, we'll be calling on Deputy City Manager Laura Lamb, who I'm now not putting on the spot. I promise I'm not putting anyone on the spot. have a little extended presentation on housing because we've made such major investments in those areas and because it's such a absolutely crucial part of the work that's needed in Kalamazoo and that the foundation is attempting to help the city do. The Finance Committee report, which was just approved at Finance Committee, will have the first formal formatted endowment report that was dated June 30th on the report, and any updates subsequent. And so that'll be under the Finance Committee's report portion of reports and communications. And then also the 2021 budget draft allocation, which was just discussed per the bylaws at the Finance Committee. Executive Committee report, should there be one, would also happen at that time. As a quick rewind, I'm not sure that there will be an Executive Committee report per se, so that's entirely the purview of Executive Committee. But as a rewind to the board work session of, I believe, February of this year, January, there was discussion of the board survey and the professional development work that we did. And the two areas of focus that came out of that were one, board ambassadorship. So how does staff help the board and equip the board to be really all that it wants to be in terms of being able to tell the story in the community and be that bridge for the case, especially of stakeholder directors between those in their stakeholder areas and the board, and then also connect with programming ideas and programming outcomes. So that was one area. And the other was a focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that was in the framework of the survey, of course, but it was also at the same time that the city's diversity, equity, inclusion director, Dorla Bonner, was being transitioned on staff into that position. Immediately after that, the full impacts of COVID happened. And at the April board meeting where we had intended to do kind of start those discussions, because these are definitely, ongoing portions of the board's work as opposed to just something that's done at one meeting. It was decided that Zoom is not the best place to do that necessarily. That was, I think, under the assumption that this would not be a 9 or 10 or 12 month part of our lives, which it has very much become. And so we are continuing this conversation. And I'm sort of thinking in terms of the cadence of meetings, needing to present the draft board allocation in September, that we would be looking at having these prep meetings and then actual conversations at the October board meeting. So if that were to be part of the discussion for an Executive Committee report, those would be two items that kind of remain on the Executive Committee table, so to say. Otherwise, having reviewed the previous minutes, there are no major old business items to really bring up or remind the Executive Committee of. So an open question there, and staff's happy to take directive as needed on what to include in that September 14th agenda.
Thank you, Steve. I'm curious, Dorla Bonner and I had a phone conversation not long ago as she's acclimating to her new role again as Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And she has a lot of new initiatives and plans, and she's still in the early phases, understandable, but there's also talk of a civil rights board and just other things that she's working on and envisioning to operationalize here soon. And I was excited about her coming and having a conversation with the board, just a precursory introduction as to what we'll see and what we'll be experiencing. Do you think that this is not a good time for her to do that? Has she changed her mind? Where are we on that process?
I can absolutely confirm with Dorla. I wouldn't say at all that there's been a change of mind. So if I miscommunicated in that respect, then I apologize. I can confirm.
No, you didn't. She and I were very tentative about how we would proceed. I just thought it would be, since it's going to be such an integral part of the board's operations, and hopefully the city's, just a way for her to introduce herself and her new role and how it will impact, hopefully, what it is we're looking to see is what I was just hoping for.
I think that'd be a great way. Let me reach back out and see if I can confirm. I like that idea of an introduction and brief kind of overview, and then certainly the work is a much larger undertaking. So
thank you.
Excellent.
Well, I move for approval of the agenda for the September 14th board meeting as presented.
Support. Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all.
Back to the top order agenda here.
Okay, are there any public comments?
There are no public comments at this time.
Thank you. Board member comments?
Chair Williams.
Yes.
I just want to note, for some reason, Barb Miller is here, but she's there as an attendee, not as a panelist. So she was able to hear everything we talked about, but unable to communicate back.
Oh, thank you for letting us know, Director Ritzeman. Welcome, Director Miller. We're glad you're here, even though you can't respond.
Oh, there she is.
Welcome. I can't see you, but welcome just the same.
Yeah.
Any other board member comments?
Yeah,
Thank you, Director Dennison.
I just wanted to take a moment and express my utmost support and admiration for Dorla Bonner. The work that she has been doing with the Citizens Police Public Safety Review and Appeals Board has been taxing, and she has handled it magnificently. And so I just want to say, for anybody who hasn't had the chance to work with Ms. Bonner, she's brilliant, and I'm very much looking forward to this.
Thank you. Thank you. I underscore your sentiment, Director Dennison. Any others? I will just restate what I said earlier in our Finance Committee meeting. Thank you all for coming together with us to do this most taxing but profound work. We are all adjusting to our new normal and trying to stay positive during this time. And certainly you don't have to be here. And I just want to say how much I appreciate you all, staff and directors, for sitting with us and taking the time. Thank you for your grace as we struggle sometimes with technological issues. Again, this is our new normal, but we will persevere. So thank you for being here. And since there are no other comments, I'm looking for a motion of adjournment.
So moved.
Thank you.
Support.
Thank you. Motion's been moved and supported. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Stay healthy and safe.
Bye. Bye, everybody. Good to see you.
Bye. You too.